To welcome everybody back today, Alabama Care, and I have the pleasure of being here with Mrs. Kim Spangler and Mr. Adam Tyus, and we are going live from the Arc of Central Alabama in Birmingham, Alabama. And today we are going to be talking about the adult day programs available through the Arc of Alabama, Central Alabama, and more specifically about the Community Experience Program. And at this point, I'd like to hand it back over and allow you both to introduce yourselves.
I'm Kim Spangler. I'm with Arc of Central Alabama Community Experience Coordinator.
Okay. And I'm Adam Tyus. I'm Vice President of Day Services here at the Arc of Central Alabama.
Now, are you guys originally from this area?
I am been here for about 20 years, so I call it home at this point. I went to the University of Miami, graduated, hung around, liked it so much, made it my home. So,
I grew up about 30 miles east of here, but haven't lived here in a long time. Moved from, my family and I just moved back in March to here from Nebraska.
From Nebraska. Now, did you also work, I guess we'll start off, how did you guys get involved in the community, in the disability community and with ARC and stuff like that?
I got involved when I was really young, just volunteering and general interest. Started working with youth with borderline IQ when I was about 18. And then that kind of moved me into working for a provider. Worked for a provider in Huntsville, worked for providers in Oregon, did my graduate research with a provider outside of Portland, Oregon, and then just kind of kept going.
Yeah, so you kind of traveled a little bit of the country, Nebraska, here, Portland,
Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite spot for the environment, like the weather?
Oh, the weather. It's not Nebraska. Oregon's fantastic. I love the climate and the landscape, but here feels more like home. So
yeah, does it rain a lot? I always hear rain in the Northwest.
It's more of a misting than anything.
So you're just constantly wet.
Like yeah, except for the summer, and then everyone's so appreciative of the sunshine that everyone's in a good mood for about 3 months. So it's fantastic, and it makes you forget about the spritzing of rain that you experience all fall and winter and spring.
I lived in Phoenix, Arizona for a number of years, and it was kind of the opposite. It was like in the winter is when we had our first, 3 or 4 months where it was just perfect, but everything other than that, you were sweating nonstop.
Yes.
You could cook eggs on the, on the ground outside.
Miserable.
Yeah. Well, welcome back.
Thanks. Good to be back.
And Mrs. Spangler, about how long have you been working with Community Experience?
Well, I just started in January here, but my background started when I was in college, and I got a part-time job, which I thought would be me doing caregiving for an individual with a disability, and it just kind of opened my eyes to the world in which I could be a part of and enjoy, and he actually ended up teaching me way more than I could have ever taught him. And then lo and behold, when we had our first son was diagnosed with cerebral palsy when he was 4. And so then began my personal journey with this world and this field, and I just kind of dug in and learned as much as I could to kind of be an advocate for him. And through those advocacy experiences, I ended up volunteering at several nonprofits and organizations and learned my way around, and here we are.
I also have a family member that's diagnosed with CP, and one of the big things that I go through with her care is finding great caregivers.
Right.
But you've had that experience at a young age, you said in college there.
Right.
What was that like?
At first, I was intrepid, thinking I might mess something up. And then a few weeks in, I began to realize nothing's gonna break or fall apart. I'm just there to give him the best experiences that I could give him. But at the same time, I was learning so much about speech therapy, occupational therapy, horseback riding, all the different opportunities in the community that he could participate in. And I began to realize there's a whole big world out there that really potentially is easy to tap into if you just have the right resources and go for it.
Yeah. That is a gift. Caregiving is a gift that I think some people have, not all, and I definitely don't have that. I notice that I don't have the patience, so it's tough.
Yeah.
I am forever grateful for the team that we have for my family member, and I know that caregiving is a skill, you know.
For sure.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about the adult day programs, and what exactly are adult day programs?
Well, they're a place in the community, usually a building where individuals who have developmental or intellectual disability can go to do a variety of different things. We offer several different services, all the way from employment services to day services. Where you have a place to go to learn skills and objectives and kind of grow those skills, and meet the individual's needs as far as expanding growth and enriching their lives. Right now we have dehabilitation, which is one where you'll experience outings, time in a classroom, and get involved in the community in one way or another, whether it's volunteer or just going out into the community and meeting new people, people in the community coming in, doing music, art, just expanding your life and something other than an institution or something other than sitting at home bored. And then with that, we have pre-vocational services. They're services for individuals who are interested in getting community employment, who are starting to expand those job skills. And that can be anywhere from your social skills, expanding social skills, all the way to, okay, how am I going to run a register, or how I'm going to balance my schedule, or and then and building math skills, language skills, writing skills, anything. And it depends on the individual, because everybody's so different. Just like every other human being on the planet, we're all very, very different, and we have very different set of needs and wants and desires and dreams. And then most recently we have community experience, which is expanding those skills even further and really integrating the community and becoming a part of a community, and starting to make connections, so that because for such a long time individuals were either institutionalized or isolated, and I believe that that's a disservice to the world on so many levels. And so really getting involved in the community and saying, hey, look, you want them to be a part of your whatever it is you've got going on, your business, your small business, your event, your community event. They bring life and love and happiness, and also they're going to benefit from being a part of this in ways that you can't even imagine. And so it's all about that, really getting involved and
I think a lot of people don't see that if they're not involved in the community. They don't have any interaction with the community. They don't see the benefits and the outcomes of that. So I think that just letting them see that is a big step. Now, you said there are three main programs there: the Day Hab, the Vocation, and then the Community Experience, which is the newest one. When I think of the vocational side of it, pre-vocation, I think of that as kind of a class that you progress through and then graduate through. The other two programs, are they similar, or are they more long-term?
More long-term.
Mm-hmm.
They're the services that we offer are typically going to be long-term services, wraparound services. If and there's moving forward, and then there's occasional setbacks, and then we address those, and we surround with support and try to keep moving forward. And so they're going to be. The goal is lifelong service, right? And to keep moving forward, and these services helping you to keep moving forward in those different phases in your life,
Mm-hmm.
While maintaining some consistency.
Mm-hmm. Now, how many individuals participate in those day programs, those adult day programs, weekly?
We have over 300 individuals in Jefferson County involved in day programs, and that's not including Blount County.
Okay.
Right now, so there's 5 different programs here in Jefferson County, and then we have a program in Blount County as well.
Now, those are all through the arc of
Central Alabama.
Is somebody able to become a part of the programs if they are, or how would one go to get into a day program?
Yeah. So typically, the only real, the main component is you 18 or older, because it's an adult day program, with an intellectual or developmental disability, a diagnosable mental, disability, and then typically you're going to go through the Department of Mental Health or 310 and things like that. We do, however, have private pay, because sometimes individuals have been put on the waiting list, or aren't on, or haven't even have made contact with the Department of Mental Health yet. And so a lot of times what I'll say is, yes, you could come in private pay for sure, but I strongly encourage you to contact the Department of Mental Health, do the assessment, sign up, get on the developmental intellectual disabilities waiver.
I understand that can take some time, though, and I could see there being a situation where a family or an individual may need to do private pay and get into the program while that's working itself out. What would a family like that or an individual expect, like a week, to be private pay wise?
It depends. It depends on need, and everything is individual. And it depends on what services we're wanting. We're wanting to get involved with. Just recently, I was talking to a parent about her son, and she wants him to just get out into the community. And so, he doesn't need to sit around the house. He's bored. I'm bored. We're all bored. Nobody's doing anything. And so we're working on developing. Hey, what would that look like? How many hours? What are his needs? And then that would determine the rate based on that.
So contact you.
For sure.
Directly.
Most definitely contact me. A lot of people contact me directly about those things.
Okay, perfect. And then let's say it was, so they contact you, and then what would be the next step there? Would they come in for an evaluation, or?
We would come in, we'd have a conversation, do a tour, meet the individual. There are certain things that we have to have on file, annual physical forms, documents, and the slew of things. But that's we walk you through all that, so that's not so it's not so overwhelming. We typically would I would contact the 310, or I would help if that hasn't been done yet, or really guide those parents on how to do that, and get in touch with somebody to get that ball rolling if it's not already in motion, and then go for there. And then we have a start date, and it's a trial enrollment period for us to get to know the individual and them to get to know us and see if it's going to work, see if we like it, see if they like us, we like them. Not usually we like them, we always usually like them, but they like us, really. And if the service that they were thinking about being interested in is still the service that they want to go with.
That's a really good point. So they could come in thinking they want to be a part of one adult day program, right, and after learning more about another, they're like, I kind of want to do this instead.
Right.
Yeah. You mentioned that the documents, kind of the doctor's documents and what have you, that can always be a pain. Hopefully at that point, at 18 in the adult day program, you've got all of that. But that's a thing that is trouble to go through. I'm sure you've got 10 different people that you have to get the documents from. And I have a good friend, Lorenzo Brown, over at Is Able here in Birmingham. He's actually doing a class on getting all of your medical documents later this week. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it should be pretty good there.
Those are really good resources to have, especially if you're a parent or guardian and you're the one who's having to organize that, and it's not an agency helping you do that.
Yeah, it's almost like you got to upload it on your phone so you have it with you at all times.
Absolutely.
I do that on Dropbox. I put everything on Dropbox so I can pull it up.
Absolutely.
One of the, I would say, negative keywords in the community that I've heard is sheltered workshops. And I tend to put those in parts of the day, in that timeline. But these programs are not sheltered workshops. And what is kind of the difference there for somebody that maybe heard horror stories of things that happen during the day?
Okay. So sheltered workshop is just that. It was much more sheltered. And so and we are getting away from that, and we were doing piecework and a lot of times sub-minimum wage work, and so the pros for that were individuals were able to work on their own time. They were able to do it if they wanted to. There was no however, we were also not meaning to, but still it's another form of institutionalization and hiding away. There's no contact with anybody outside of the workshop, you know, and that transition is very difficult for parents because it's scary. And because now, you know, you're going to take, I know that they were safe. I know that they're safe. Even in the day program, you know, I have parents who were like, we don't want to do community experience because the community is a really scary place and we don't know what's going to happen. And what if somebody's mean or cruel or something terrible happens? And so we have to, you know, be mindful of those fears, but also say, you know, encourage them. They need those connections with other people in the community and to build those relationships. And so we're just moving one step further away from institutionalization. You know, it's been a gradual process. And with the HCBS final rule, they came through and just moving more into community integration, moving more into full immersion into the community. And how are we going to do that? And we have to make sure that we're gentle in that, because we have a lot of people who for a long time have been doing the same thing. And I am a creature of habit, just the same as everybody else. I like to do the same thing. I do the same thing every day.
If I don't have my morning routine, it throws off my entire day. Yeah.
And so can you imagine, this is what you've been doing for 20 or 30 years. And now somebody's saying, absolutely not, you can't do it, we're shutting that down. And so here are your options, scary or more scary. And so what are you going to do here? And so it's all about being delicate to that and being sensitive to that and saying, no, the staffing, we have staffing. We have built-in, you know, built-in little things that we can do to make sure we're mitigating these experiences. So making sure they're safe, and an individual does not have to ever participate in anything that they don't want to. You know, they're an adult. They can make their choices. And so it's expanding that knowledge base, that experience base.
I think you had a really good point there, that sometimes it maybe was the parents or the family that said, look, I know that my son or my daughter or my family member is going to be safe in an environment that they're comfortable in, that they've been in before. Maybe they aren't getting the kind of experiences that they could be, but I know they're safe. And that is kind of institutional thinking. But I kind of deal with that. I have a family member who has CP, and her mother in some ways is still, you know, scared of a lot of things that are out of what she's been doing. So it's going back and forth. Have you ever felt that with a family member, where it's like you see what the potential is for the individual, but the family is like, I don't want to do that because we don't know what's going to happen?
For sure. I think we see that a lot. And I think Kim can talk a little bit more about the community experience and kind of what she's seeing, because she even sees that, you see that in the individuals. You know, it's not just the families or guardians. I mean, we have individuals that we go up to and we say, hey, you ready to go? And they're like, yeah, no, I'm not going today. And so, you know, she runs into that a lot. And you know,
that happens. My overwhelming experience has been very positive. And I think part of the intrepidation is just fear of the unknown. They just don't know all the time, whether it's the family member or if it's the individual themselves. They just don't know what to expect. And there's been a resounding positive feedback and outcomes every time they go out and come back. And most of the time, I would say 9 times out of 10, the individual wants to go back and do some more and do it again. And then once the family members start to see them enjoying their time and getting these positive outcomes, there's less of the unknown. And a lot more comfort and, you know, positive encouragement and energy.
It's getting over that first one.
Yep.
That first experience.
Exactly.
So let's transition to community experience. Kim and I believe we met before the last month. I think we've met at a conference or two, but I can't pinpoint down.
We hang around the same parts
Yeah.
and the same people a lot.
We were at Lorenzo Brown's life skills class. It was about a month ago, I want to say. And we kind of talked after that broadcast, and that's how we got here today. But give us an introduction of the community experience program.
So that life skills class was one of our community experiences, and Lorenzo has just been a huge blessing. He runs the whole spectrum of things he can offer to community of people with disabilities, and one of them was those life skill classes. But basically, on that particular day, we were going out into the community to find a nice, open, welcome place to eat, which is always great for the Is-Able Center, and wanted to get some social interaction going on with people they haven't met before. And so with the Is-Able Center doing a life skills class, we thought that would be a perfectly appropriate place to do it. And we went, and they all enjoyed it, wanted to go back. They always want to go back to Is-Able Center. And that's a perfect example of the fear of the unknown. They didn't know what the Is-Able Center was before that. They didn't know who was there. They didn't know what to expect. Got there, loved it. Now they want more.
Now, are there specific goals that you have for the day that the individuals work on or try and get better on? And the only reason I say is because I noticed when the Community Experience Program first came into Is-Able Center, I think it was before we had gone live, but everyone looked you in the eye, shook your hand, and said, "Hi, this is my name." And
I'm so glad you noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we work on that.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if that was just like a goal for the day or if they're continuing different goals or
both. That was definitely a collective goal, was that first initial greeting, because a lot of our individuals are not used to going in public all the time consistently and introducing themselves. And so I've noticed they'll just start talking and we don't know your name. Tell me your name. Who are you? Where are you from? So we worked on that collectively. But more to your point, there are specific goals for each individual. And we try to individualize their goals based on their personal support plan, based on their interests and their abilities, and try to move them from point A to point B as quickly as we can. Quickly means something different for each individual. So it might take 3 days to 3 weeks, depending on the different people we interact with.
I was blown back. I mean, the whole crew, there were, I want to say 7 or 8 individuals that day that were part of the program.
Right.
And everybody came in, just looked at, the whole life skills class, said, "Hi, this is my name," and then walked up and shook your hand.
Yay.
And I was like, this is awesome. And I was wondering if that was like a daily goal, or is that something that you encourage every time in the community?
We try to, yeah. We want the community to interact with our individuals as much as we want the individuals to interact with the community. And so that's what you do. You introduce yourself.
Now, I have a question. I'm going to ask in places that you go out and some of the reaction from the community there, if they haven't had interaction with the disability community and what you've seen there. First, I'd like to acknowledge a few people in the chat. Vonda Reeves, it's good to see you here today. Ryan Alford, hello. I'm not going to type in chat today, but I do see you there saying hi. Stephanie Miner, good to see you. If anybody has any questions for Mrs. Spangler or Mr. Tyus, please go ahead and type it in. I'm glad you guys are here with us today. So what are the different types of locations that the Community Experience Program has gone through?
So we've been everywhere at this point. We haven't done everything, but we've been all over. So we have 5 different day programs, and so we operate out of each of those day programs. And so we want each of those day programs where the community is to embrace the individuals that go to that particular day program. So if they're coming from Crestwood, we go out into the Crestwood community, and that could involve anything from a morning coffee shop to a walk in the park to experience at the Birmingham Museum of Art. It just all kind of centers around the community, and then from there we center it around the personal interests of the people we take out. So
now you mentioned there's 5 programs. Was that only one program I saw at Is-Able?
So, right.
Okay, so that community experience will happen one time a week then?
It depends. I mean, different individuals go out different times during the week, but
okay,
we would like to see the individuals go out at least once a week. If not more. For some of them, it's more.
And I imagine there's a barrier there of transportation too for everybody if you're going to all 5 locations and trying to set up a central community experience.
Not anymore.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, not really a barrier of transportation. The real barrier is back to having an individual who wants to really participate. because a lot of times, we can say, okay, community experience, we're going to do this, and we get that on their waiver so that they can participate in it, and we can actually bill for the services that we're offering, and then so they'll just do a slow introduction, so it's 1 day a week on their waiver
Gotcha.
for the individual. But most recently, we have had several individuals who come in 4 days a week, want to do community experience 4 days a week. Awesome, let's do it. And so they're going 4 days a week. They're going 5 days a week, or they want to do it. Or we just had a meeting with a gentleman who he wants to do it every day, and when he's not doing that, he wants to be working. So okay, let's look at that. Let's navigate your schedule. What are we going to do here? And what's really, really cool is Kim brings up, oh, he loves libraries. I'm like, excellent, for real?
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. We just have a library here that we just got started. And so he's going to start working in the library here on the days that he's not going out into the community. So he's getting to do something he loves every day of the week. I mean, how often does anybody get to do something they love every single day of the week?
Yeah. The cord popped out here. Keep going.
I think that's all. But yeah, it's mostly based on the individual, not because we can, we have the transportation, we have agency vehicles, we have the ability to get them there. It's just encouraging them to continue to participate.
Now,
or to get in to start participating, because once they start participating, they want to get.
They're hooked.
I mean, yeah, they want.
Yeah. I'd want to go out every day. I'd want to be seeing new stuff.
Yeah.
Now, with these different locations that you're going to, are you contacting them ahead of time?
Some of them we do. Mm-hmm.
And how does that work? Because let's say there were a mom or a dad at home that would like to get their son or daughter into the community more often, but are a little hesitant just for the family to go out. How does that work? How do you contact that location or prep?
Well, the contact is initially in, can you handle 8 of us there for this amount of time? And if we thought that they couldn't, we're always going to call and ask. Today, for example, we got to do a factory tour at Golden Flake, so that's just a simple reservation online. Other times we found an injured bird on the side of the sidewalk at a park and ended up at Oak Mountain, and Oak Mountain Wildlife Center was happy to oblige, and we got the full tour of the sanctuary.
Wait, so you started, you found an injured bird, and then it was just like, you know what, let's take this where it's going.
Bird. Yeah. And
that is really cool to be able to kind of shift gears on that.
Right. And there's a lot of unintended outcomes that end up being more than we could have asked or hoped for, and that was one of them for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really cool, like, hey, we're going to do this today. Instead, everyone's like, yeah, let's do that.
Right.
And what has been the feedback from the community, like at the art center? You said you went to the art center. Are you still, are we still introducing ourselves to everybody there?
We are trying. We're trying. There's some places that you're not going to go and interrupt somebody's lunch, even if you wanted to. But we're trying to get our individuals to be aware of, this is the time, this is the place, this is when and where you should go and introduce yourself. We go to the libraries often, and that's a perfect place because it's a quiet place, but everybody's there from the same community, and they end up sitting down reading a book to one of our individuals, completely unplanned.
See, that's the type of stuff that you love.
Yeah, for sure.
And that makes a big difference for everybody there.
Right. And I've been, personally and professionally, I've been impressed because I think I have to raise my expectations of the community at large. I've been intrepid at points just from my own personal experiences. But the more we go out, the more I'm seeing people want to embrace the individuals that we're bringing into the community. They just need a little bit of guidance, a little bit of, hey, here's how, here's what.
Now you kind of do that here's how on the spot.
A little bit, yeah.
What's a way that we could prep them ahead of time? Or I guess that would be just more.
The community ahead of time?
Is that even needed? That sounds like a negative thing.
It's not really. It's just letting them know it's okay to talk. It's okay to introduce themselves. It's okay to say, hey, my name is.
You're just meeting another human.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people, if if I've never seen the color blue and I see blue, I'm a little hesitant to engage.
It's like, yeah,
And so not a lot of people have that
Right.
type of interaction.
Well, and I think too, just looking back again on my own personal experiences, a lot of us as children were taught, don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say anything. That kind of awkward silence when it presents itself, because you want to say something, but you've been told not to say anything. I'm just trying to help people know it's okay to say something and talk and speak like you would anybody else.
Yeah, like you two are looking at each other like you want to talk, just go ahead.
Right.
Engage.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Now, you mentioned that there were, I can't remember the exact number. How many people in the adult day programs weekly?
Over 300.
Over 300. And how many in the community experience program?
Right now we've got a little bit over 40. We're hoping to grow that number.
And
Keep
lot.
asking.
yeah. What is a little bit of the history of the community experience? When did it start? And how did it start?
It's been here a while, but I'll let you go.
Well, this program actually...
This program is
The
since January
The community experience is
here at ARC of Central Alabama.
at Arc of Central.
Now, previous states have done different things, and previous organizations have done different things and called it something different. I mean, it's been done all over, and it's going to continue to, I think, morph into new and better ideas, and how can we do this better? How can we engage the community better and better and better? And so we're going to see this change at some point again, which is fantastic. That's what we want, because we just want to get better at really engaging individuals, and really bringing the community in and individuals into the community, and both of those. And so, but
here since January.
Yeah.
So from January till now, I feel like 40 individuals in the program is quite a feat. And is there a limit on? I mean, you'd have to get additional staffing and help,
Sure.
but that's about it for the limit there. What is the kind of the kink in the funnel to go from 40 to 100 in the next 2 months? Would you say it is the waivers from the?
We put the request in to get the approval, and we wait for it to come back, and once they're approved, then we take them out. We're not going to stop asking. We're going to continue asking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the individuals, and I think, even we've had to change the mentality of an entire system, and everyone involved in that system, everyone from direct care staff all the way to CEOs of companies, right? And what this looks like, and what is this system going to be, and how are we going to change? And so you introducing this new world to people can sometimes be interesting, and if you are in a place of fear and you're trying to introduce something new to someone, they're gonna be like, yeah, you're afraid of that, so I'm not gonna do that. That's a no thank you. And so the more comfortable I think everyone becomes with what's happening, and the changes that we're making, and the changes with the federal rule, and the changes within the communities, and really seeing this integration just start to pour through. Because what we're essentially doing is we're saying, okay, we're not going to segregate anybody anymore.
Right.
You're a deserving member of this community just like anyone else. And so the more we see that happen, it's going to be a snowball. I mean, because everyone in here, every individual who attends day services, they have a friend who has a friend who has a friend. They're all buddies. They talk about their day, in one way or another. And so what you'll hear is, hey, I'll be walking down the hall, Adam, come here, let me talk to you. I want to go out with so-and-so who said that they went out to the library last week and they did this. And so it's like, all right, let's get the ball rolling on that. And it's also it's retraining staff, it's retraining coordinators, everyone who's been involved in this system for a long time, because we've been trained, myself included, in, all right, let's keep this safety net. We got to have there have to be risk. There have to be risks.
That's a tough thing, because I think everybody wants a little bit of a safety net in some form or another.
Absolutely.
The roof
And they're
above
still
your head,
there.
yeah.
That's the hard piece. It's like, no. The staff's
Now
still
that
there.
we've met
Still
those
safe.
things,
Yeah.
let's take the next step.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name. Past Associate Commissioner of Mental Health Alabama was, and now it's Mrs. Terry Pazan.
Right.
Courtney Tarver.
Mr. Tarver. I should know. Mr. Tarver said that you were talking about system change there today. It's not just you're on a boat and you can turn the wheel, but it's like you have to, the whole fleet has to change.
Right.
So it's a big thing there.
It's a lot.
I think we're doing it. I think we're in the process now. I'm excited.
Absolutely. It's really neat, and it's much needed.
Yeah, I think we have the right people in place, and I think the culture is there. So I think you guys are doing a great job of helping that. So let's talk about a day in the life of the community experience program. What would it look like? Let's talk about the day that you went to the Arts Center. What did that look like? If I'm in that program, do I show up here at the Arc of Central Alabama, and what does it look like from when I get here to when I leave?
Right. So since we're leaving from the day program itself, you would come to the day program and you would wait on us to get there and pick you up. Well, the first question we're going to, and everybody, this is funny to me, but everybody thinks, okay, we're here, let's go. There's actually step one is, do you want to go? So we have to go in and we have to ask, do you want to go out with us for community experience today? More often than not, the answer is yes.
What if they say no?
If they say no, we try to encourage them. Let's really think about this. It might be fun. If they continue to say no, we let it go. Their answer is no.
But then what would they do instead of going on the community experience that day?
Whatever they're doing at the day program.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They might have an outing at the day program, but they might want to do that instead.
Yeah.
So it's their choice.
They have a few
It's really
options
their
there.
choice, yeah.
Okay, so they show up. Do you want to go?
Yeah, so they say yes. And so the other funny part to me is everybody thinks, oh, there's this great, giant, wonderful plan, and this is what you're going to do, and here's the schedule every day. And it's really not like that. So we ask the individuals themselves, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And we try to always include the things that we all do when we go out into the community every day, whether that's shopping, finding a place to eat, finding a place of personal interest or entertainment, all the normal things we all do when we go out into the community. And so we ask them, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And we try to make sure that it's something we can do in that community. Mm-hmm. And so that day, one of the individuals had a very strong interest in art, wanted to go, her words were, I want to go make some art. And so there is a really good interactive youth room up in the Birmingham Arts Center. And when I say interactive, it's all the bells and whistles. It's incredible.
Really? I've never heard of it. I want to take my family
right
member
across
there.
from the restaurant. It's really cool. So we went there. We ended up spending about an hour and a half. And all of the individuals ended up finding something that was of their personal interest, but it was in the arc of art. And so, for example, one lady's really interested in the Renaissance and fairy tales. So there's a book collection of Renaissance fairy tale art, and she went over and found that.
Yeah.
And then another one was doing the sculpting and the paint, So it's just really interesting to see, I want to do this today, I want to do that today, and it comes together like a nice puzzle.
Like a painting, like a masterpiece.
Exactly, very good, exactly.
Now, what happens if you say, somebody says, I really want to go and do art today, and somebody says, I really want to go and play soccer today? Have there ever been those heated discussions for the outing?
Sure. Exactly. And so here's what happens. If we can't all agree, then we have to say, well, this week, since we're in this place at this time, this is what we're probably more likely to get the most out of. Mm-hmm. And then next week, we can plan for that day and that time. And so they end up learning how to compromise, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. That's a big thing. And I imagine if any group of people, if you ask them what they want to do that day, is probably reluctant that everybody's going to vote to do one specific thing.
Most of them agree on most of the time. So it's surprising to me. I think they're just excited to go out. But every now and then we have that, and it's just another good learning opportunity,
Now, would I show up here at 8 o'clock, or what time does that start?
Usually the hours run between 9 to 3, anywhere within there. But we're out for a good 4 to 5 hours a day. And within that amount of time, we're doing really well to get to 2 to 4 places a day. Usually we're doing 2 to 3. Sometimes if we can get it squeezed in, we'll do 4 different locations.
Now, what does the transportation look like? I feel like a family member would have that question. I want to make sure my son or my daughter, my family member, is going to be safe in the transportation there. What does that look like?
So we have buses, and these buses are all accessible, wheelchair accessible. They have everything that's needed. I think the most important piece for me from a mother's perspective is that we all have to go through this driver's training. And so nobody that's on a bus or driving a bus wouldn't know what they're doing. They all know what they're doing. They've been there, done that, and have to pass the class before they are allowed to go out.
It's like you pass that class, then you become an 18-wheeler truck driver if you wanted to,
right.
along the same thing.
Pretty close, yeah. Yep.
So we also have vans and cars. I mean, we have a lot of different options available depending on the group of individuals who are going. We want to make sure that if we've got individuals who have, mobility, differences in mobility, and then maybe they use a wheelchair or use a walker or something like that, that they can get in and out on whatever vehicle that they're being transported on.
Yeah, that's one thing that I deal with my family member's transportation, because she needs help walking and is in a wheelchair when she's in the community. Like one thing that we're going through is I think that she could have a much more comfortable wheelchair, but it's a bigger wheelchair. How do we get the transportation down right for that? So that would be something that, some of my questions there is she going to be safe on the bus?
Right.
Is her wheelchair going to be in place? That kind of thing, which I'm sure it is. But
Hell yeah.
For sure.
I had a question here. I just said what, and I forgot to write what it was. So get here at 9, then we'll go to the community experience, and usually get back at 3. And then about 3 o'clock, what happens then?
Not much. It's almost done. Their day program's almost over at that point. They probably come back and talk to all their friends about all the fun they just had. And then if there are any loose ends to wrap up at the day program, things they missed, paperwork, whatever, they get that done, and that's about a day for them.
Now, do they usually go back home? Do you find that most people in the day program, are they living independent living, or are they in a community home, or are they living with their parents? What do you see there?
All of the above. We've seen it all.
Yeah.
Truly.
So that their parents may be here at 3 o'clock to pick them up, or there may be another form of transportation to go to their community home, or
Max, Class Tram, parents. They may be engaged in residential services through the ARC. If you are in residential services through the ARC of Central Alabama, then we transport to and from, and so then that transportation cycle would start. Otherwise, it's either parent, caregiver, other agency, public transportation. I mean, you name it. We have individuals coming and going.
What do you think the percentage is residential, ARC residential, in the day programs versus non-ARC residential? You feel like there are more individuals in the day program?
You know what? I don't know the exact numbers.
I just wonder if there was an overall thing there.
There's a good amount, but it's not for lack of choice, because as an individual you can have one provider for residential services, another provider and we have plenty of that, because we have plenty of people who
come from a different
who receive services from a different residential provider, but we have people who receive residential services through us, and they come here and then they go to whatever other program they're going to go to. And so it's just based on preference, and as it should be. Each individual gets to choose. You tour programs, you tour homes, you tour, and you do your due diligence so that you can, because it's a big deal. That's your life.
I feel like the day programs would be a really big thing for an individual if they're living at home with their family, because the family, I think, envisions sometime where that individual they're not going to be there long term. And I think that a day program is a very good transition where that individual is able to get outside of the family and experience community life. I feel like that's a really good jumping opportunity there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and you know, the individual starts to become aware that there are other people who can offer similar care as your family in a different environment, in a different setting. We meet new friends, explore communities, pieces of communities that you didn't explore before, because, you know, just like every family, I mean, you know, my family, we go to the same grocery stores, go to the same little restaurant, we go to the same parks. I mean, but this is something new, you know, and new experiences, and expanding that. And then when it does, or if it does ever become time where you become interested in residential services, yeah, you're much more comfortable with
you've had
staffing.
kind of those shorter experiences there. And I feel like that's a really nice bridge. I am going to acknowledge the chat and a couple questions here, and then I am going to ask on what has been some of the feedback from the individuals in the adult day programs. So I'd like to, Lorenzo, good to see you. See you on Thursday, my man. Martha Molinix Carr. Martha Carr is watching. Good to see you here. Jane Bosler, good to see you. Thank you for the like. And Ryan Alfred, your comment is pinned to the top. Once again, if you guys have any questions, please go ahead and type them in. So what is some of the feedback that you've seen? Where do you think, through the community experience, where has been the most ecstatic place for the group to go?
Well, this summer there was a new water park in Hoover. Water park is it's all the bells and whistles splash pad, and it's out there by the Hoover Met. And we took some of our individuals there, and they've been asking to go back every time.
Really?
So, yeah.
So every week it's like dead. It'll be dead middle of winter. It's like, where do you guys want to go? Splash
Let's
Mountain?
go to Splash Pad. Yep. And it's free, so that's always good.
Wait, what? I think you need to shout this out. There's a water park in Hoover that's free.
Yeah, it's over by the Hoover Met.
Huh.
It's a giant playground / splash pad that is completely accessible. That was the beauty of it to me. And they love it. They love it.
Yeah, so they want to go back there.
That's been a highlight for sure.
You mentioned when they come back, they like to talk to their friends about their day. Is that something that is a goal there, or is it just occurring naturally?
No, that's just a natural. We didn't plan for that at all. That's just what's happening. And that's been a great thing, because it's showing everybody, look what happens when we go out into the community. It's all good.
Yeah, and allowing the individual to express their experiences and share those experiences. And it's really cool that you're having that happen organically, and not being like, hey, do you want to tell somebody about it? They're just coming back and be like, guess what we did today? Yeah.
And then I'll meet people as I'm walking the halls. I haven't met them face to face yet, but they know who I am, because I'm showing up, and we're going out, and their first question is, hey, when are you taking me out? So I can tell it's working. It's working.
And if you would tell a success story of maybe someone that was timid or was a little bit nervous about going out into the community, and how their progression has become.
Yeah, so we had one individual who had experienced a lot of anxiety and kind of intimidation when it came time to check out, when we were trying to make a purchase at a store.
Okay.
She knew that she could do it. She just wasn't confident in knowing exactly how, and things were taking a little bit longer for her to count the money and be prepared. And so we gradually got to the point where we got her to think about ahead of time, plan for ahead of time, and have that amount of money out ahead of time. Dollar Tree is great for that. And she started going to the checkout, and it wasn't taking near as long, within about 3 to 4 weeks. And now she's confidently going up there, handing her money over, waiting on her certificate, her receipt, and then shows it to me like, look what I just did. I'm like, good job. And so to see somebody move from fear and intrepidation, and I'm really getting upset here, and I'm dropping my money, and I don't know how much, to look what I just did.
Yeah.
It's so, I can't even, if I were her mom, I'm not, but I kind of feel like I am sometimes. If I were her mom, to see that, I would just be, let's do more of that.
Yeah.
You know?
And to have that happen in a few weeks that's a huge life skill, is to have that confidence in that, because anytime you make a purchase, you have to, if you're out in the community, you have to exchange that money or go through that process.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. So she's learned that at this.
She's there. Yeah.
Congratulations to you and to her.
Yeah, she did great.
Do you guys have any? I've noticed. I was doing a little bit of research. Are you guys currently hiring for additional staff?
We are.
So I'd like to put that plug out there for you guys.
Yes.
You guys have 40 people in the community experience program and 300 in the adult day programs. And so who are you looking for there? What is that? Who do you guys looking to hire?
Professionals. Somebody that wants to do this.
Yeah, we have actually. I think if you take a look at the website, you'll see the available positions that are open. I think we have a few. We have several direct care professionals, direct staff, direct support staff, and we have CNA positions open, certified nursing professional, and we have QDDP position open. And if you want to take a look at the website, read a little bit more about those, stop in. I'm available.
That's a great one.
Come on by. I typically, if somebody comes in to fill out an application, I have Miss Doors give me a ring. If I'm in this building at the main office, then I'll come out and we'll sit and chat about what that looks like. And so yeah, we are constantly.
Let's. What's the website to go and see those positions?
Was it arcofcentralalabama.org?
Okay, so just go to arcofcentralalabama.org.
Yeah, you just Google us.
Okay.
And it'll take you there as well. That's
Just go to the drop-down menu. That's right there.
Nice. We do have a question here. Question says, my daughter, Danielle, works 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. She is very social, but the problem is she really doesn't have close friends to get out and do things with. Are there social events for our young adults with different young adults to get together with different abilities? I think she was saying. Are there social events for our young adults with different abilities to get together?
So if she wanted to be part of the community experience through the day program, that would certainly be an option. I'm not sure what the hours are that
she's currently working.
I know from what you just said, it's every day. So that would take some finagling, but it's doable. Another thing I would recommend is to look at the Azable Center. They've always got something social going on there. Other than that, the nonprofits that are open and operate during the day tend to have a lot of events that they host specifically for the community.
Is there anything that comes to mind for kind of after hours, like after 5 or the weekends, that really stands out in the Birmingham, Jefferson County area? Because mostly
after hours for,
I would say like after 3 or 4. Like if someone's working, I don't know what the hours are, but Monday through Friday, 10 to 2, what's a good social thing for them to do from 3 to 5? I don't know. Normally it's just, hey, you kind of see what they're interested in and then you go out, but it sounds like she's more interested in, are there a group of people that are getting together?
Groups of people. Yeah, I'm not completely sure. I mean, I'm relatively new to this community, but I do know, just in speaking from the previous places that I've lived, that's been a deficit. And it's been difficult. And so I would say that I would need to do a little bit of research.
Well, I'm going to put it back on the chat for everyone watching right now. You guys can see this, and this is a great question. So if you guys have any input here, I would like you to reply to Mrs. Carr. And Mrs. Carr said she works Monday through Friday, 10 to 2:30. So it is, so it is
5 window.
Yeah, so it is that 3 to 5, and then the weekends kind of thing. But that's more of an individual basis. If my aunt wants to do something, I'll go out and find something. But it sounds like she's very social, wants to be around a group of people, kind of after work hours or on the weekend. And I'm going to put that back on the chat. So if you guys have some good ideas, I'd like you to throw that up there so other people can see it. Yeah. And then are there any upcoming events or programs, highlights that you guys would like to kind of talk about in the next few months or few years that you guys have going on?
Immediately, coming up very shortly, September 9th, 10th, and 11th, the Disability Conference is coming, sponsored by ARC of Alabama. And several of our individuals that we take out for community experience are going to be participating in that. I would welcome everybody to get your ticket online now. Go before they sell out. They're getting close from what I hear. But it's a wonderful opportunity to learn more, to get more resources that every parent, every family, every individual needs in this journey. So.
And that is in the Birmingham. So if you're local,
Yes,
it's great. If you're
it's
not,
in-
it's worth the trip.
Totally. It's at the Hyatt Regency over by the River Chase Galleria.
And they got some pretty good deals on rooms for overnight. So I would say if you, we're going to be there, but it's only going to be for one day, and that's going to be Tuesday all day. That seems like the kind of the breakout sessions there, but the schedule's online, so I definitely recommend going to that and checking that out. And we're coming to the close here of our broadcast today, and I would like to say, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you guys would like to say to the community?
One thing that I can think of immediately is fall is upon us, and so with that comes all the fun stuff, the football games, the football parties, the tailgate parties, the pumpkin patches, the fall festivals, the pumpkin spice in our coffee, all that good stuff, right? So as we think about that, we love as a community experience to go out and participate in all the things that normally go on in a community at that season. And so we know that that's coming up. So we encourage all of the churches, all of the different organizations that are sponsoring an event like that to reach out to us and let us know. We would love to be there and participate in those things. For sure.
And they can reach you through the Arc of Central Alabama.
arcofcentralalabama.org, or you can just contact me. My email is Kimberly Spangler at arcofcentralalabama.org.
Perfect. And Mr. Tyus, is there anything that we haven't spoken about today that you'd like to say?
I don't think so. I think we covered most everything. I'm grateful to be able to have a conversation. So
Well, I appreciate you both coming on and being with us here today and sharing your story and what you guys are doing. I think it's a great thing. I think the Adult Day program is helping in a lot of different ways and are a great experience. So
Thank you.
And chat, once again, if anything pops up, I will say, Mrs. Carr, we are going to be at the Pepper place, the Pepper Market, I think in 2 weekends, because Miss Tina Miles and the
Ability Baking.
the Ability Baking Company are going to be there. So we're going to try and do a broadcast from there and maybe have some individuals that are with the Ability Baking Company step out and say, hey, this is what we're doing today, and kind of view a little bit. So the Ability Baking Company will be, I think it's the second weekend, she said. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to follow up with her. But we will be there. So that would be a good outing, I think, to do on a Saturday morning. By the way, I'm going to give them another shout out. If you know anybody or you are receiving food stamps, if you go to the Pepper Place and you give them $10 in food stamps, they give you $20 back immediately. You double your money by buying local there. Local fruits, vegetables, pastries, everything like that.
Amazing.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And I just found out about it this year. My family member does receive food stamps, so I sometimes don't buy fresh produce and vegetables at Publix during the week because I'll go there on Saturday and double her money.
Absolutely.
So that's a great thing there. But there's another possibility there for your daughter. All right, guys, it was a pleasure being with you here today, and we are going live again on Thursday with Mr. Lorenzo Brown and his life skills class. He is going to be talking about the healthcare or getting your health documents together and self-care. And we will see you guys then.